for what I believe to be the red. There needs to be a little more color in the whole thing, yellows and maybe some browns, but the reds are just overpowering. But if it hadn't been for that, I would have gone much, much higher. I really like the composition.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, so we had a brief hiatus, but we're actually back. I think we should be up on YouTube now. I'm going to give us a second for our team to just confirm that we're up.
We are not up yet.
Okay.
Okay, now we are.
Okay, well, so let's briefly starting again. Welcome, YouTube. I apologize for the slightly fractured start. We thought we were going a little earlier. We have three amazing judges, Jim Doyle, John Gruz, who's actually new to judging for IEPPV, and Casey Newman, who you'll know is a longstanding member and supporter of our group. Judges, please quickly one after another say hello.
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 Good evening.
Excellent. Thank you. This first image in the category was called children. Sorry, it was called fishing. The category is children. And this scored an 86. Jim just spoke to the image. And we'll be posting a recording. So those of you that missed it will be able to hear Jim's comments after the fact. We apologize for that. And the next image in the children's category is Dia de los Muertes. Dia de los Muertes. Okay, I'm starting to see scores coming in now.
Still thinking here.
Just waiting for the third score to come up on my screen. Okay, that'll be a short pause. I'm just refreshing to see if we can get the scores coming back. Judges, sorry, scorers, can someone type the score into the... Okay, score is 78. John, why don't you talk to this one?
I give this one an 80. I mean, I love the colors in here. I think it's a merit, but I think it's just a merit. There are some conflicting things that I think, you know, the green in the background's a little hot, a little distracting from the image. Her expression really doesn't, there could be a little bit more expression, I think. But I think it's you know, it's really a nice image as far as, you know, color and the composition. Maybe is a little bit too much trunk over at the left side, but I think it's a merit image, and it's just like I said, just a merit image. I wouldn't go any higher than an 80 on this one.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, next image, still staying with children, is Happy Moments. Happy Moments. Okay, starting to see scores appearing. Score is 85. Casey, let's hear from you on this one.
Yeah, I was 83 on this. I think that this is a really nice image, portraiture. Great expressions from both the child and the dog, which isn't very easy. Skillful lighting. Distracting elements are bare minimum. Love the really reduced background. I think an easy merit, and for me, in the middle of the category, 83.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, the next image, still with children, is break time. Break time. Okay, score is 80. Jim, back to you. Jim, you're still on mute again.
I guess I was unmuted and now I'm muted. Okay.
There you go.
I'm back. Sorry, I scored it an 80. I like the image. I think that it tells a story. There's no doubt about it. I think the grass, again, is too hot. It needs to be burned down to bring it down to a more reasonable level. It does focus my my eyes on the subject, and the subject's well lit, and the timing is everything. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it as the last image deserves a merit, and maybe if he was licking the lollipop. I don't know. That's the only thing I could. That's the only. No, those are the only comments. Burn down the grass, and I think you've got a really strong image there.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, final image in the children category is future champion. Future champion. Score is 86. John, this one's with you.
Well, I scored this in 86. This is just great. The title was
Future champion.
Well, it tells the story. I mean, doesn't it? It's your eye goes right to the kid's face. You see his action in the background. It's well composed. I love the way your eye moves around from one thing to another. I think that blue edge light is maybe a little bit too hot, but all in all, I think it's just a great image. I mean, this kid will be treasuring this image for a long time.
Nick, can I make a quick comment?
Yes, please go ahead, Jim.
I scored it an 83, and I would have gone definitely up into the next category, except for the fact that the boy in the back, if you look at his right arm, he needs, and the middle finger up at the top, he needs to be cut in better. And in the center image on the left shoulder, that area down his arm needs to be cut in a little bit better. Those were two things that kept me from going higher. Just suggestions to take it to the next level, because these are really hard to do, and I'm impressed with the image. It's very nice.
Thanks, Jim. I know the maker will appreciate your comments as well. Okay, the next category is digital artistry. As you know, this is a category in which we focus as much on the skills required to create the image as on the final image. We only have a single image in this category, and the image is Charger Pride. Charger Pride. Okay, and our scores are just beginning to come in now. Good. Okay, the score is 85, and that one is with Casey.
I was 86 on this. For me, very skillfully done. The Photoshop work in here is extremely nice. I think that all of the disparate elements assembled in this almost seamlessly are really well done, worked in very artistically with all of the various little machineries at the bottom, the little soft fogging and everything else. It all blends together really well. I love the confetti at the top and working the image in as the background. As an image, it stands out really well, just in addition to just the Photoshop. So for me, an easy 86.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, the next category is the illustrative or illustrative category, depending on your preference of pronunciation. This is kind of the catch-all category. We always say it's the place where things that don't belong elsewhere go, but it's really for images that are photographic in nature rather than purely digital artistry, and that show creativity and interest without necessarily being specific to another category. Just before we go on, we do need to actually go back. I missed, we have one image for review, Dia de las Muertes in the children category, my mistake. So let me just pull that back up. Judges, if you could give me a same or thumbs up in chat, that would be great.
That did not work.
Image remains the same. Okay, thank you to my scoring team for keeping me on track there. Okay, as I was saying, in the illustrative category, the first image in the illustrative category is Ceiling of the Grand Hall. Ceiling of the Grand Hall.
Okay, Nick, I'm having a little trouble getting the score card to come up.
Okay, is your mouse focused on the browser window? Try just clicking on the image and then moving to the center.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
And
Nothing.
try refreshing the browser if you would.
Oh, you know what? Let's do this. What was that? Alt-A?
To rotate, run is Command Tab. Sorry, Alt Tab.
Alt Tab, yeah.
Alt-A. There it is.
There we
Sorry,
go.
when I went to the chat, it dumped out of that.
Yeah, you have to get back to the window. Okay, thanks, John. Score is 82. And Jim, I'm going to give this one to you. Jim, you're on mute.
I muted it again. Sorry about that. Okay. I like the image. I think that I scored it at 85. And I really like the exposures. Yeah, I get the bottom's going to go dark, but that gold is really well exposed with the skylights and everything. I probably would have gone higher. I mean, if you look at the top right corner, the they match. If you look at the center, they match. In other words, horizontal. So somebody took really care to set this shot up. I just feel like the bottom is off a little bit. I would have gone higher, but I can't put a center line on it, but it just feels like the bottom is shifted a little bit to the left. That's my only comment. I scored it an 85, which is in a much higher than normal. And this is well done. I like it.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, the next image in the illustrative category is a great experience. A great experience. If it helps, great is spelled G-R-A-T-E.
That does help.
Score is 81. John, this one's yours.
I scored this an 80. I have no idea what I'm looking at here, but I'm really a sucker for these big, bold, kind of graphic abstractions, and I think this is just really great. It keeps my eye moving around. It's kind of a one-note tune here. I mean, it is what it is, and there really are no other surprises after you see the initial impact. But the impact is really good. I mean, it really grabs your attention initially, and I really like that about it. I scored it an 80. Did I mention that?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, next image in the illustrative category is water lily. Water lily.
Was that my out loud voice? Did anybody hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I used outside voice on that.
Now remember, we are live.
Yeah. So am I.
Yeah. Score is 83. Casey, this one is yours.
Wow, 83. I was a 90 on this. I absolutely love this. The artistic feel of it, the skillful use of light and shadow and darkness to create mood. For me, the confounding of expectations. You hear the title Water Lily and sort of have an expectation what that might look like, and this is nothing like that. The opposite, almost. In fact, I absolutely love the creativity. The dynamic impact for me was strong. I just think a very skillful use of photography creativity in this for me was a winner. So I'm a 90. What was the final score?
83.
83. Wow. I'm tempted to challenge to see if my fellow judges.
Challenge it.
Okay, well let's do that then. I'll go ahead and challenge this. Yeah.
The gauntlet has been thrown. So Jim, your comments, please.
I see it in a totally different light after Casey's eloquent expression. I like it. I like it. My only concern was I'm having a hard time seeing it because of some of the borders around the. It looks just a little soft up in the top, just under the stem where it connects. It looks a little soft to me, but I'll go up, no question.
John, your comments.
I tend to agree. I scored it kind of low. but I do like the mood of it. Like Casey said, it's the softness doesn't bother me that much. I mean, it has just this real moody look to it. The one thing that kind of held me back was that twig or whatever it is towards the bottom third on the right side. It just seems to be a distraction from the overall composition. But I will come up a little bit.
Casey in rebuttal.
I think that the softness is planned, and it's sharp along the ridge of the water lily and the stem, and for me that's where it should be soft. I actually agree on the lower twig. I think that is an unfortunate little minor distraction for me. It doesn't change my final score, but we'll see where we wind up. Thank you, judges.
Okay, gentlemen, if you would rescore, and this time please select challenge as your score type. So refresh your browsers to get the score sheet back.
Oh, wow. I have to refresh the browser.
Okay. We good?
My score sheet is pixel size. It's really hard to see.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, just waiting for the third score to come in. Okay, still waiting for the third score to update.
Did you get mine?
I got yours, yes. Jim, I didn't get yours yet.
You didn't get my rejudge?
Yeah, can you just
Because it's been,
did you hit submit?
yeah.
Let me just refresh and see what's going on here.
I'll do it again.
No, it's okay. Well, I mean, you can do that if you like. That'll do.
Yes or no?
Yes, please.
All of us or just Jim?
No, just Jim. Thank you.
Done.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And the final score is when the thing refreshes. Okay, why is the final score not showing up? Bear with us 1 second, we have a technical glitch.
It's there, Nick. At 89.
Final score is 89. Gentlemen, thank you. Good challenge.
Oh, well done.
Okay. Okay, next image in the illustrative category is shadows. Shadows. Final score is 83. Jim, this one's with you.
I scored an 85. I like the image, really like the image. Shadows, the name is a little, I mean, yes, there are a lot of shadows and I can't see anything in the shadows. Now it could just be me, but I can't see anything in the shadows. I think it's good, but I'd like to see a little more detail in the hair. The skin is clean all the way along, and I like the way that the maker created a nice edge with that light. That's really well done. Could use a little more, just a little more shape or light in the bottom left and bottom right to bring a little more shape into the arms and the front in the shadows, open up the shadows a little. But I think all in all, it's really well done. I scored an 85.
Thank you, Jim. Next image in the illustrative category is Rain on Me. Rain on Me. Score is 81. John?
I forgot what I scored. 80? 80.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. It's a nice image. I mean, I love the colors in this. The water droplets are pretty amazing when there's just a lot of them. And if it's the title, what I wish wasn't happening in it was some of the tangents along the edges of like the yellow up at the top, and some of the brown stuff at the bottom. I wish those were just controlled a little bit more, or maybe just cloned out, so that you have a nicer silhouette without these little tension areas along the edges, because you want to look into the middle of this image. I like the rest of the black coming in. They're sort of like leading lines that just kind of pull you into the image. And as I said, the colors are just amazing. So 80.
Thank you, John. Okay, the next image is the painted poodle. Painted poodle. Score is 83. Casey, let's hear from you on this one.
Yeah, I'm right at 83. First, what a lovely image of a little puppy. That's a great face, great expression. The fur is fantastically handled. The painting is really skillfully done. My problem for me, and could just be me, that's why we have 3 judges, but it feels a little like a floaty doggy head. I need to see a little bit of body, I feel like, to give it a base. It's just the head. So it felt a little odd to me as I was looking at it, but easily in the merit category, no question at all. So that's where I wound up 83.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, next image, still with illustrative. Bricks and a window. Bricks and a window. Okay. Score is 79. And this one's back to you, Jim.
I scored it right at an 80. I like it. I mean, geez, story is told. I think the maker could definitely get this up higher by doing a couple of things. The key, I don't think you need 2 key lines on this, but more importantly, fix the barrel distortion in the image. There's a definite bow at the top and a bow at the bottom that could be corrected, and I think it would go higher. But I like how the window is off centered, the bricks. I like the lines. It's a very good abstract or street photography type image.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, and the final category in the illustrative, the final image in the illustrative category is Sandstone Paradise. Sandstone Paradise. Okay, final score is 80. John, this one's with you.
Well, I'm the bad guy here, and it's a beautiful image. I mean, I think it's the way that the foliage leads you into the image, the colors of the rock, really great. But it really looks over sharpened to me, and when the process sort of gets in the way of the image, I think tone that down. And I scored a 77, by the way. I would go up to a merit easy, but it just looks just way too crispy for my taste. I'd like to hear from one of the other judges if it doesn't look that way, because hopefully it's not my computer, but this one looks really crispy.
Gentlemen?
Well, my score was higher, but I think that you may have a bit of a point about the sharpness. I like a lot of crispness and clarity, but this may be a touch overdone. It is a matter of taste, of course. I was an 84. So.
I was an 80, and the foreground, yes, is extremely crisp, but look at the mountain in the back right. Yeah. It's soft, but the one on the left is sharp. The one in the way back in the center is soft. The thing that kept me down was the shadows are too bright. There needs to be more contrast in the shadow area. And the first thing that popped up when you came up, yes, the foreground appeared to be a little over sharpened.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't something wrong with my screen. So good.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Before we move on to the next category, we do have one image for review, and that is bricks and a window. So if you would just type either same or thumbs up in the chat window, that would be good. Remains the same. Okay, so our next category is landscape, ironically enough. And the first image in landscape is a beautiful fall, a beautiful fall. Score is 78. Jim, let's hear from you.
I scored it a 78. The lens flare is creative. I'll say that. Is it a distraction? Yes. Is it need to go away? I'm not sure. The thing that held me back from going into it, I mean, it's beautiful composition, beautiful image. The waterfall speaks to you, but the top half of that image is so, I mean, look at the top dead center. It's just out of focus. I'm not sure what caused that, but it's probably the lens, but I'm not sure. That held me back. Crop it down, that's a pretty nice shot, but that top section up there that's out of focus is really a killer for me.
Thank you, Jim. So before we, oh no, beg your pardon. Next image in the landscape category is Just One of the Boys. Just One of the Boys. Score is 78. John.
I scored it a 76. I think, I love the way you put the Joshua tree on the thirds over there. The composition works pretty well. I wish you would have gotten down a little bit lower so that the bottom part of the Joshua tree wasn't creating a tangent there with the top of the rocks. Really give it a better silhouette. Also, I've been to Joshua Tree, and it's hard to find a really good lone tree with a good silhouette. And so kudos to the maker for just finding one, because there's always another tree behind or a bunch of rocks behind. I do think you could find a better time of day. The sort of noonish light is not doing you any favors. And I would try, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon to cast some shadows and get a little bit more drama going on there. Just really the time of day, I think, in this. But I would say keep trying. See what else you have in your in the roll of film that you took there.
Roll of film.
Yes.
There we go. Back to old school. Good for you, John. Okay, next image in the landscape category is Pylons to Manhattan. Pylons to Manhattan.
Could I rescore?
Yes, just go ahead and refresh your browser and type a new score in.
Okay.
Can you let me know when you have, please, John?
I will. Done.
Okay. Just wait for the system to refresh. Okay, final score is 79. And Casey, this one's with you.
Yeah, that's right where I was at as well, 79. Initially, this image is really strong. It has great impact, and I love the look and feel of it. Then as you sit with it for a little while, for me, the way the water was allowed to go completely soft. I'm not. That feel of that isn't quite right. It just feels almost dreamily soft in contrast to the sharpness and crispness of the buildings. That I don't know that plays well together. And then there's a lot of smudging is sort of the word. I don't know if it's ghosting exactly, but there's definitely some smudging and some stuff going around the edges of the building in a lot of areas that is a definite distraction and a drawback for a nice clean image. So I couldn't quite get to merit on this.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, next image in the landscape category is lines have been drawn in the sand. Lines have been drawn in the sand. Score is 85. And Jim, this one's yours.
I scored an 88. I really like it. You know, you see a lot of these sand shots, and this is extremely creative, the way the maker waited for the last light. The sky is believable. It very unique. I mean, very unique. I like the lines in the, maybe open up the shadows just a little bit, might have gone higher, but I think it's a great art piece. It would hang well on a wall anywhere.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, next image in landscape is purple haze. Purple haze. Score is 80. John, this one's yours.
I scored an 82. I mean, I love the colors in this. I love the way the river or the stream leads you into the image. It looks as though, you know, the sun is a little bright back there at the sunset, but it doesn't look blown out. I just think I think it's a lovely image. I do think that maybe you could cut a little bit of the grass off, you know, crop a little bit of the grass off the bottom. That's really not helping you any, because really the impact is in the water and in the sky. But other than that, I think it's a lovely mirrored image.
Thank you, John. Okay, next image is concrete jungle. Still in landscape, concrete jungle. Score is 78. Casey, this one's yours.
Yeah, I was at 79. This was a tricky one, I have to say. I was anxious to see where it would pop up as far as its score. I think that the background or the subject matter really is strong. I really like what was done there. I think it's, however, a little too hot, a little too bright overall. I'd like to see that brought back a little bit, and then a lot less foreground. Crop in a little, remove some of the distracting elements. I know that maybe it feels to the maker like that's important in the image, but I think that it's stronger without it. I think if you crop in on the left and on the right and on the top and on the bottom, I would like that image much better, and then brought back from the exposure level that it's at right now. I would really like that image, and I would be in the merit category, no doubt. So for me, 79 as it is.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, next image, still in landscape, is Kissing the Sky. Kissing the Sky. Final score is 77. Jim, we're back to you.
I scored it a 78, I believe. Great concept, great composition. I think the exposure is off, and the exposure is off quite a bit, I think, and especially up in the top where the kiss is occurring. The trees in the fog and in the clouds. Again, the midtones are just way too blown out for me. Fix that, and that could potentially go up into a merit.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, next image in landscape category is Haunting. Haunting. Score is 87. John, this one's yours.
I scored it an 85. I, I, I think this is just wonderful. I don't know if it should be an illustration or not, but because it looks very illustrative. But I love that you didn't try to straighten out the distortion, the barrel distortion, and with the trees pointing, angling in, and it just gives a really, really kind of an ominous look to this cabin out in the middle of nowhere. A couple of things that I love the light coming out of the cabin too. I think that's really, really well done. The Milky Way is done. The trees are cut in really, really well. Even if maybe it was all done at once, I don't know. But it's really, really satisfying from about the top 4/5. At the bottom, maybe it gets a little too blocked up in the blacks, and there is this sort of black shape to the sorry, I'm dyslexic with left and right, to the right lower, that I find probably most distracting, but it's an excellent photograph.
Thank you, John. Okay, the final image in the landscape category is The Path of Life. The Path of Life. Score is 78. And Casey, this one's yours.
Yeah, I'm right at 78. An interesting subject matter, and I think that there's a really nice image there. I just think this is a wrong time of day issue for this particular one. It lacks impact and drama when it really should be, you know, shouting out, and there should be some punch to it, and it's lacking a lot of that. Mostly just the time of day is a little blah as far as light quality goes. So couldn't quite get to the merit category with that.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Can I say something? And I agree with everything Casey just said. Sometimes when you have a really strong, and you're that path itself, I mean, it's part of the title. Sometimes when you have a really strong leading line in there, it needs to lead to something. And it would be great if, you know, if there was a, you know, kid on a red bicycle or something back there that actually was a payoff to where it was leading to. I mean, the rest of it's beautiful. All that bamboo and everything is wonderful. But, you know, think about a payoff when you start seeing those really strong paths and leading lines that really channel you through, but it also channels you right out too.
Thanks, John. No, that's helpful. Okay, before we move on to the next category, we do have a number of images for review. So we'll go back and we will start off with a beautiful fall. Give me 1 second while I get back to it.
Hold on, I got to find the chat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. While you're finding the chat, I'll find the image.
Where is it?
Okay.
Hold on, I'm looking for the. Oh God, it's just the top of it. Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, if you could give me a thumbs up or same. Remains the same. The next image for review is just one of the boys. Just one of the boys. Okay. I only see one comment so far. Gentlemen, can you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm not sure if I'm. Oh, here we go.
Did you get me?
I did not, John. No.
Oh, really? Okay. Anything?
I think you may be chatting just to one individual. You see
Oh,
above
yeah, I am. I'm sending him to Kimberly. Let's try that.
Okay, if you could be so kind as to send to everybody, that would be great. So
How do
just put on that and set to all panelists and attendees.
hold on. I need to be able to figure out where. Okay. Okay, how do I get to that? I'm sorry.
So in the chat window, where you have the two, there should be a blue section that currently says Kimberly. If you see on the right-hand end, there's a little arrow, click on that, and you'll get a list of everyone. The very top of that list is all panelists and attendees.
I'm sorry, give that to me again. I'm just saying a list of. So I just click on
All panelists and attendees.
I see. Never mind. There we go. Sorry.
That's okay. So the remains the same. Thank you. Next image for review is Highlands to Manhattan. Highlands to Manhattan. Remains the same. Next image for review is Concrete jungle. Give me a second to get to that one. Concrete jungle. Remains the same. And then the final image for review is the path of life. Remains the same. Okay, the next category is the nature category. And the first image in nature is standing watch until the break of dawn. Standing watch until the break of dawn. Final score is 85. Jim, let's hear from you.
Nick, I don't remember what I scored it.
You scored it an 83.
83. Okay, sorry. I really like it. The thing that held me back from going up higher, I mean, the composition is great. I like the key line. It keeps me in the picture. It tells me where the grays end and where the black matte begins. The only thing that held me back from going higher was the color of the light on the bird. Morning light is yellower. It's not that color, and that's the only thing that held me back. Change that, and I think it could go much higher. I like the softness of it. I like the detail in the water, the shadows. I mean, looks really good. Well done.
Thank you, Jim. Your next image in the nature category is attractive structure. Attractive structure. Score is 84. John, let's hear from you.
I scored it an 85. Just a beautiful image. The contrast between the golds and the greens are just really wonderful. The only thing that really held me back was it seemed to be, I don't know, sort of isolated and kind of floating in there, but you know, it's not too bad. I mean, there's details in the darks there. I don't know. I would. I'm just thinking maybe I should have scored it a little bit higher, but I think it's a beautiful image, a nice composition. The fan in the background, the fronds. I don't know what I'm looking at there, but it really is beautiful. Nice detail. Well done.
You know, I'll challenge this image.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, go ahead.
More for my score and to see where Jim is at as well, because I'm at 84, and the longer I sit here, I think maybe I'm a touch low. I think John is probably right. This is in the next category, and I think we can put it there. Everything that he said was great. Is dead on, accurate. The golds against the greens is just really wonderful. I love the way that everything happening in the background was reduced back so it doesn't distract from the main subject at all. It's just really well handled, very skillfully done. So I'm going to move my score up, and that's where I'm going to be.
Jim? Sorry, we lost you there. You're on mute at the moment.
There we go.
Oh, there you're back now.
Having challenges. I was at 80, I believe, in 83.
You were.
I really like it. The things that held me back from going up is in the background on the right hand side of those three leaves, that the shadow just doesn't. If I look at the rest of the leaves, it doesn't match. There's something wrong there, and that's a big distraction because it keeps pulling my eye over there because it's dark. Other than that, you know, I heard most of what was said. I got cut off there for a minute, but I heard most of what was said. I really liked the image and like to hear the final rebuttal.
John, did we hear from you?
Well, you heard from me initially, and
we did. Okay. Do you have any comments in the chat?
Everybody was agreeing with me. I don't have that much to add to this. I did say I probably scored it a little bit low, and I will probably go up a couple of points for this.
Okay, thank you. Casey, in rebuttal.
Yeah, just for Jim, I don't find what's happening with the leaves to be that distracting. I'm not at 95. I'm at 85 or maybe 86. So for me, that feels in keeping with where I'm at score wise, and I'm really comfortable there.
Okay, gentlemen, if you would refresh your browsers and rescore, please, and this time, please select challenge. Jim, I think we may have just lost Jim again.
Uh-oh.
Let me just get him. Yep. For some reason he's getting disconnected, so we'll get him back in again. Okay, Jim, you should be back in now. If we could get your score, please.
Okay. Problem is I'm not getting the scoring coming up again.
If you click onto the browser and then move to the window, you should be good. You have to have focus on the browser.
My browser is not showing up.
Aha.
I'm just getting the screen.
Got it. Can you type your score in the chat to me, and I'll actually no, can you type your score in the chat to Kimberly, and then Kim, can you put the score in, please? Do you have access to do that?
I don't have Kimberly up. I have all panelists.
You should, if you pull down, you should be able to pick Kimberly.
She's not there. Casey, John, Troy, Rebecca, Stan, Annette, and Bruce.
And if you slide further, if you scroll down.
My apologies.
No, it's okay. I mean, it doesn't show a scroll window, so it's actually not obvious. Okay, let's see if we can get this to. Okay. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, I can't do this. But bear with us 1 second. We just have a small technical issue. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 moment, just for. While we're doing this, okay. Apologies, IEPPV viewers. Just a few minor technical issues, but we're back now. And you should have everyone. Okay, final score is 80. Drum roll. 86. Well, that was exciting. Apologies for the technical issues, and we are back. So good challenge, and thank you, gentlemen, for doing that. Next image in the nature category is exotic pink beauty. Exotic pink beauty. Jim, is your browser back and functioning now?
No,
Okay.
I have the screen up. I just can't, no matter what. I have the
Right.
second screen up, the other one.
Okay. Try refreshing it.
I can't. I don't have. There's no bar at the top.
You try hitting Command R.
Nothing.
Okay.
Control F5.
Does that work on a Mac? Stan?
He's on a
No.
PC.
Jim, you on a PC or a Mac? I thought you were Mac.
Mac. That turns on voiceover.
Okay.
On the browser window.
Yeah, probably close and reopen the browser. Do you need me to resend you the link?
I'll go back and get it.
Okay. Thank you.
Back in a minute.
Okay. We apologize, viewers. There'll be a short pause. Occasionally, we run into technical difficulties with this. Okay. While we're waiting, just so that the viewers are aware, the way that we run this is we use a slideshow program to present the images to the judges in full resolution. So although what you're seeing is through a webinar system called Zoom, we tried that and found that the image quality going through the video just was not acceptable. So we have a mechanism where the viewers, the judges get to see full resolution images. They get to see them on their own calibrated machine in an environment that they're very familiar with. So there really is no better viewing environment for the judges to assess these images and get, come up with good views. Obviously, all of the judges live and breathe by their views, their monitors, so they're correctly calibrated in an environment that they're familiar with. Then we have a scoring mechanism that is tied into this and that pops up on a little window. Occasionally, you'll see my, if I get my mouse in the wrong place, you'll see that pop up as well. That allows us then to get the scores. It all works very well, but it's still, I would say, technically just a little bit fragile. As you know, this is our first year doing this. And certainly over the winter period, we'll be refining and tweaking things just to make them a little bit more solid. So that we can help people to get through this process efficiently and not run into the technical challenges, such as Jim getting disconnected. So bear with me and when I get Jim back into the
It's
webinar.
interesting. Hey, Nick.
Yes, go ahead.
I have what Jim had up there, but I also have my browser floating here too.
Right.
Okay, because I can see the image that is part of the I guess the live feed.
Correct. Yeah.
And
So
I
we
think
share.
that's somehow he got there and
Right.
lost it.
So what we do is we share the one of the slideshows with the Zoom session, and then broadcast that out to YouTube so that the viewers can see it. And I see Jim coming back in. Okay, Jim should be joining us again shortly. And you're right. So I guess probably when I switched over and switched back again, that prompted the Zoom session to go full screen. Thank you, John. That was helpful. Okay, Jim, are you back in now? You're still muted.
I'm back in and I have the chat window, but I don't have the ability to mouse over the image.
Did you see the link that I posted into chat? If you can click on that. Because I think John just pointed out that what you're seeing, the window that you're seeing is in fact the Zoom session.
Yes, post it again, please.
Okay.
It's not there.
It's there now.
There we go. Now it's in the browser. All right, my apologies.
No apology needed. This is, as I was saying to our viewers, this is still a little bit fragile. And when it works really well, but unfortunately we need to work on making it a bit more robust.
I'll tell you what, it's extremely good.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. I think we scored this, did we not?
No, we're just waiting for you to score if you would be so kind.
Again, my apologies.
It happens, don't worry about it. We had one time. Okay, final score is 82. And Casey, this one is with you. Casey, you're on mute.
Sorry, I had to remember where I was at. I'm back. I think my score on this was 80.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and I like it. It's a really interesting composition with this flower. For me, it feels a little hot or maybe a little bit overexposed. I'd like to see it printed down a little bit. The background is a little plain, maybe, so maybe a little bit of a crop off the right to kill some of that dead space might be slightly more interesting. So I'm in the merit category, but kind of just barely.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, the next image in the nature category is I Want to Fly. I Want to Fly. Score is 83. And Jim, we're back to you.
I scored an 85. I really like it. I think it has a lot of impact, and I can. There are a couple of things I probably would have gone higher, but the shadows in the bottom leaf and in the front on the left, those leaves, the dark areas on the background are a little distracting to me. But the title and the top leaf or piece that's coming off has kind of a little bit of a motion effect, or at least that's how it affects me. But it's tack sharp. It's extremely well exposed. And I think it's well done. I'd clean up the background a bit, as I said, and I think you've got a pretty nice image.
Thank you, Jim. I think we've lost your camera, by the way, so we just see your name there. But that's okay. Next image in nature is snack time. Snack time. Okay, just waiting for last score. I think we just lost Casey. I wasn't sure if he was sitting unbelievably still or whether he just froze. So just bear with us 1 second while we get him back.
I think he's frozen here.
Yeah. Okay, there'll be a short pause while he dials back in or logs back in. I wonder if he's got more technical problems. Let me just see if I can get a hold of him. I think we may have to have our alternate step in and score this on Casey's behalf. I will just contact her. Okay, there'll be a short pause while we just get our alternate judge to step in and help us out here. Unfortunately, I think we've lost Casey somewhere in the ether.
Nick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Rebecca.
You still need me?
Yes, please.
1 second. Hi, all. Nick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Rebecca.
You still need me?
Can you mute?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I need to turn it off 1 sec. Hi, all. Nick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Rebecca.
You still need me?
Can you mute?
Sorry. I need to turn.
So viewers, one of the things you'll just discover is that there's a delay between what happens in the competition and then what comes out on YouTube. And since Rebecca monitors our YouTube channel, that was exactly what you just heard, was that delay. That does give us 7 or 8 seconds. Unfortunately, it doesn't give us 7 or 8 seconds recovery time because once it's sent, it's sent. But it does mean that things are running just a little bit behind. So sometimes communication can be a bit slow. Okay, we're on snack time. Rebecca, how are you looking like you can connect?
Yes, I'm connecting. I'm watching. I'm looking at the image.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm Casey, right?
Yes, you are. Final score is 81. John, if you would talk to this image, please.
Can you remind me what I scored?
Sure. All those ages ago, it was 84.
84. Yeah. I really like this image. I mean, wildlife, birds especially, are hard to shoot. You know, they're never where you want them to be and what you want them to be doing. And this is really nice, a nice capture, figuratively and metaphorically. The birds, the egret has got something there, so you captured a great moment. The composition is wonderful. Set off to the side there, the circle of water. That there are other circles, but the main one is sort of contained within the composition, and the way that the maker has put or moved his camera so that there's a dark area behind the light plumage of the bird, but the light area of the water is behind the black legs. So it's just really well done, and I think it's a high merit.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Okay, next image in the nature category is feels so good to stretch. Feels so good to stretch. And Casey, I see you back. You ready to score?
I am back, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Score is 82. And Casey, this one's yours.
I was at 83 on this image. Decent impact. I like it. The mirroring is really clean, crisp and sharp and clear. Not sure I can say how to make it more impactful for me. It didn't have fantastic impact, so I couldn't get into higher categories. But it's certainly a merit image and well done. A good eye for that moment with that bird.
Thank you, Casey. And then the final image in the nature category is Sweet Harmony. Sweet Harmony. Score is 86. Jim, this one's with you.
Scored at an 88. Really like it. It's beautiful, subtle image. Tonality across it is pretty good. Actually, very good. I like the idea. I'm not sure if it was created in a studio or out and then dropped into a soft pastel background. The lighting tells me that obviously it's lit from the top. You can see the highlight on the right-hand side and the highlight up on the top left. But there are other things that lead me to believe that it may have been done in a studio. So it's extremely well done. I think there after I scored it, I saw a couple of things that I might comment on. In the stem, the white line on the inside of the stem, and about halfway down on the right-hand side, there's a little white knurl. I'd clean those up And then I'd lighten up the inside of those two orchids, or the three orchids, just bring up that yellow just a little bit in there. I think that would help enhance the image a little bit. But I think it's all in all, it's a real nice soft pastel scape. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first half of the category. We're now going to give the judges a 5-minute comfort break. So we'll put just a sign to that effect up on the screen. Judges, if you would just mute your microphones, that would be good. And then if we can be back at 8:05, that would be perfect. Thank you, guys. And audience, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Of course, there's nothing that a broadcaster hates more than dead air. But since we keep going for quite a while, it's only reasonable to let the judges have some time to get up and move. So we will ask you to bear with us just another couple of minutes. Thank you, audience. Okay, so we're waiting for the judges just to come back, turn their cameras back on, but we should get going in about another minute or so. I see Casey back. We're just waiting for Jim, and then we'll get going.
Nick, I'm here.
Excellent. Thanks, Jim. Okay, so we're actually over halfway through. We had a total of 50 images. We've done 30, so actually 31. So I think we should now be on the home straight. Next category, and we go back to showing a picture of our speaker. Okay. Right, the next category is pets. And the first image in the category pets is waiting for you. Waiting for you. Score is 78. John, why don't you start the second half for us?
Be happy to. I scored it a 77. It's a beautiful expression on the little dog. But I think, yes, I think, first of all, there's way too much area around this. You can crop in on him a little bit, on him, her a little bit. Also, it's the composition seems to be tilted. I feel like the dog's going to fall over to the right. And that I find that really kind of disconcerting. Also, if you can, maybe a little bit more contrast in this would have helped too. But and he seems, like I said, he seems a little bit lost in the size of the composition there. Cropping in I think would help out a lot.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Next image in the pets category is a good place to observe. Good place to observe. $78. Casey, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I was right at 77. For me, it feels a little, I think that where the tail hits right at that corner, it feels a little tight, a little awkward compositionally. I would crop this in quite a bit. Maybe half inch off all the sides. I would come in really tight off that tail end and just bring it in, bring his face out. I think that getting in, letting him stand out more in the image frame is going to be more complementary to the cat. It also feels a little more punchy in the black and white, might help improve the impact as well. So 77 for me.
Thank you, Casey. Next image in the pets category, resting. Resting. Okay, 78. Jim, let's hear from you.
He scored at a 78. Nice shot of the animal. However, the title resting, he looks more like he's interested in something. I think that's the first problem. The other problem is there needs to be some separation between for instance, the dog's paw and the ground. In black and white, we've got to have some separation there. It just looks like it blends in. But I think all in all, it's a nice portrait of the dog. But I think the name needs to be rethought, and there needs to be a little bit of help.
Thank you, Jim. The next image in the pets category is searching for her new home. Searching for her new home. Score is 81. John, let's hear from you.
I scored an 83. I think this is just a great image, great lighting on the dog. Good focus on on the eyes, really crystal clear, sharp. What kept me from going any higher is the background that he's sitting on. It just kind of puts him into a limbo. Him, her. It's just kind of floating there in this gray space, and I would like to see just a little bit more of sort of a plane that it's sitting on, standing on, and the title. What was the title again?
Searching for her new home.
Yeah, it kind of works. It kind of has that kind of pleading look. Maybe that's it. But really, my biggest, the biggest thing for me was that sort of homogeneous gray background. I don't think was helping him any.
Okay, thank you, John. Next image in the pets category is nice patterns. Nice patterns.
Could you repeat the title, please?
Nice patterns. $77. Casey, this one's yours.
Yes, I was at 77. Nice crispness and sharpness on the little tortoise, perhaps. For me, there's not a lot going on compositionally or impact-wise to bump it up into a merit image, and there's a lot of space around him. Or her, I guess. I'd like to see that a lot tighter and take away some of that empty space at the top, and then maybe some vignetting to let us focus in on the subject matter a little bit more, so there's not that expanse of lighter color around him. I think that you're going to find a more successful image with some of those changes. So I was at 77.
Thank you, Casey. And the final image in the pet category is staring into my soul. Staring into my soul. Score is 81. And Jim, we're back with you.
I think I scored this an 83, and I really like it. Cats, we had 2 cats, and let me tell you, taking pictures of them is tough. But this one's pretty well done, and it's sharp. All the hairs, look at the hairs, how crisp they are, and how the hairs encapsulate the eyes, pull your eye right in. Be careful on the reflections in the eyes. I don't see the photographer in this one, but you could very easily get caught in there. But it's well composed, and I think it's well done.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Before we move on to the next category, we have 3 images for review. The first of the images for review is Waiting for You. Give me 1 second. Same deal, if you would type the either same or up into the chat, please, judges. Remains the same. Next image for review is a good place. So good place to observe. Good place to observe. Remains the same. And then the third image for review is resting. Resting. Remains the same. Okay, so our next category is photojournalism. And as a quick reminder to our judges, in this category, the maker is capturing a moment or a story. They're allowed essentially to do what could be done in the darkroom. So minimal cropping, dodging, burning, removal of dust spots, but nothing that materially changes the image, no removal or adding of anything. First image in this category is, in fact, the sole image in this category, this is going to sound funny coming from an Englishman, is Hangin' 40. Hangin' 40. Score is 81 points. John, this one's with you.
Well, it tells the story, doesn't it? It's a pretty incredible moment there. The color looks a little odd to me, but you know, again, you can't really change that. It's a great moment. It's not particularly compelling, which would make me go higher. The story, the story is you know, it is what it is. It's not, you know, a truly, you know, amazing moment, but it is pretty cool. The composition has them. I would probably crop it a little bit so that, and you're allowed to crop, right? In PJ.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. I'd probably crop it so it looks like they're moving. Crop it on the left a little bit, so that gives them a little more room to move towards the right. Right now, it looks like they're flying off the page, but a nice capture. What I score it? 80.
Yes, you did.
Yep. So I think it's a merit, but just.
Thank you, John. Okay, so the next category is portrait. And this is where the subject has complete control over lighting, posing, and so on. First image is Pure Thoughts. Pure Thoughts. Score is 81. Casey, this one's with you.
I was at 79 for this image. In the portrait category, I feel like we ought to be able to get that subject separated out from the background a little bit more, with some dodging and burning and toning areas down, and reducing the. I feel like there might be a slight lack of critical sharpness in areas where it should be critically sharp, and overall the background feels very flat. I'd like to see that, just some contrast brought into that to punch it up a little bit. I don't know. There's a lot going on here, and it's hard to focus on the subject as much as I would like to, considering it's a portrait. So I'd like to be able to get the subject to stand out a little bit from everything that's happening around him. I realize it's an environmental portrait, but it's still a portrait, and it's gotta have some separation in that area for me anyway. 79.
Thank you, Casey. Next image in the portrait category, ready for action. Ready for action. Score is 82. Jim, back to you.
Thank you. I scored it an 80, and I do like it. It tells the story right like the title. I just need a little more zip to it. It's a little flat for my liking. Again, natural looks. It appears natural light. Doesn't appear to be any catch lights in the eyes. And it's a bit soft on the shoulders, so it was probably shot at a very low f-stop. But it needs a little more depth in the blacks, and that's my comment.
Okay.
Again, I scored it an 80.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, next image in the portrait category is off to catch lunch. Off to catch lunch. Final score is 80. John, I think this one's yours.
All right. I scored it an 82. Is that what?
Yes, you did.
It's so long ago. I like this image. I think it's really nice. I love the detail in the clothing, and obviously another environmental portrait. So the lighting still does work. I mean, there's a real direction to the lighting, soft. I love the crop, the sort of the angles that you're getting that point to the woman in the boat, from the oar to the boat itself. The water does maybe look a little blown out behind her shoulders, but that doesn't bother me that much. Normally, I would really think that was crazy, but no, that doesn't bother me that much. The one thing compositionally that doesn't work for me is the horizon right even with her shoulders. I would love for them to have been either below or above that. But I think it's a lovely image.
Thank you, John. Okay, and then the final image in the portrait category is the boss. The boss. And that is an 82. And Casey, this one's yours.
Yeah, that's right where I was at 82. There's a lot to take in this image, I'm telling you. For me, it's striking, but I have to say that the black and I think that the black and white might be working against the image for me. I'd love to see this in color and see what that looks like. There's so much happening here that it kind of all blends together a little bit. It feels like in black and white, especially in the sort of the lowerish contrast black and white that's going on here. Impact wise, I would like to see it a little punchier, color maybe, or a tone, rather than the black and white, just to see what that would look like. I'm not sure, but as this is presented, I like it enough to give it a merit, and it's very interesting. That's a merit fix if I've ever seen one. 82.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, so next next category is the seniors portrait. Start again. The seniors category, and this is obviously for high school seniors. First image in the seniors category is Girls Got Curls. Girls Got Curls. Score is 83. And Jim, let's hear from you.
Casey, refresh my memory. I'm sorry. What did I score?
You scored it an 84.
Nick, sorry.
No,
84. Okay. I love it. I mean, it's a beautiful portrait of this young lady. There are two things that I would do, I think, to get it up into the next category. I would bring her face just a little bit so that her nose is not bisecting her cheek in the back, and I'd open up those shadows around her eyes a little bit. A little soft light in there might help just to open it up to show some more detail on her face. But it's gorgeous. It's extremely well done, and texture of her skin, the color of her skin is good. The hair is not certainly there. You're selling the curls. There's no question about that. Beautiful curls.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, the next image in the seniors category, Homecoming Hero. Homecoming Hero. Final score is 82. John, this one's yours.
I think I scored it in 82.
You did indeed. Sir.
It's a lovely image. It really is. You know, the maker has captured a really, you know, nice smile, and a lot of story going on here too, with the volleyball net, and which is pretty clever actually, and the volleyball and the homecoming queen, and there are a couple of things that I would, you know, address on this. Well, oddly enough, the dress has a few wrinkles in it. Maybe, you know, if you have, since you have total control over this, she's got some wrinkles in the dress that maybe could have smoothed out. And there's kind of an odd highlight on her right arm. Sorry, the left arm. Sorry, left arm. That core, that highlight core, seems to be a little bit hot for the shadow around it. But yeah, beautiful image, really nice.
Thank you, John. Okay, and then the final image in the seniors category is prepared. Prepared. The score is 82. Casey.
Yeah, I was 83, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I knew I wavered a little bit between two, so I had to remember which one I landed on. Well done, impactful, quality lighting, skillfully done. My nitpick might be that the face feels a little hot, a little straight lit, compared to other parts of the image. Yeah, I might like to see that brought back just a little, just a touch, quarter of a stop, half a stop maybe, and then the rest of the image is really, really strong. I think I would bump my score up quite a bit if it weren't for that little bit that kind of bugs me about it. But really well done. I love the pose. It's got a lot of power and punch to it.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, we have no images to review in this category. The next category is wedding. So the images in the wedding category must be shot on the day of the event. The photographer has reasonable amount of control, but they are working under the strictures of an actual wedding day. We only have a single image in the wedding category, and it is our special moment. Our special moment. I'm just waiting on Jim.
Oh, I already submitted.
Oh,
Okay.
you did? Okay, let me
Do it
see.
again.
Yeah, if you would, please. I don't know why it didn't come through.
Go through now.
Oh, no, it did, actually. Just bear with me a second. Okay, there we go. Yeah, score is 83. I apologize, my machine was being slow. And actually, Jim, if you would talk about the image.
I scored it an 82. I think it definitely tells a story about the couple. A couple of things that I see that I think I might have done to improve it is bring the veil down on the right and up on the left to hide the rail on the right, and pull it down and not be so dragging my eye out of the photo. The other thing is I would like to have seen a different position with the bride and groom under. I don't like where they're positioned relative to the background. Let's put it that way. And then cutting of the background or the sky just leads a little bit. It needs to be worked on the left-hand side a little bit where the bright spots are.
Okay.
On camera lighting, maybe, or right over the camera, I'd move it off to the side and focus more on her and maybe put some light on the back side of him. Those are my comments, but all in all, it's pretty good, and I scored an 82.
Thank you, Jim.
Hey, Nick,
Yes, sir.
the sheet shows a 78.
That is true. Yes, Jim. For some reason, it's showing.
My
78.
apologies. My apologies. 78. That's right.
Okay.
Okay, Jim. Thanks.
Thank you, Stan. Okay, so the final category for this evening is the workshop category. And in the workshop category, these are images that are shot in a workshop or under instruction. So they're still judged exactly as they would be for any other image. And we recognize the merit winners in this category, but they're not eligible for year-end awards. The first image in the workshop category is Waiting for My Lover. Waiting for My Lover. Score is 81. John, could you talk to this one, please?
Yeah, I was obviously the high guy on this. I think I scored an 84.
Good.
I think this is a great image. You can read the title into this pretty easily. The lighting, while not being overly dramatic, is it still shows the shapes. Everything seems round. It's not particularly flat, and that's okay. I mean, that's very nice. I like the position of the hands, and the black on black on black is hard to do, but you're seeing the shapes. You're seeing the different textures between her dress and the chair and the shoes and the background and her hair. I think it's really, really quite well done. There's a little a couple of white, whatever they are. It's either on her dress or on the chair. I can't remember. I don't know which, but it's sort of in the middle towards the left a little bit. That I find a little distracting. I'd probably get rid of those, but I think it's a very fine image.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Next image in the workshop category is a new day at an old cabin. A new day at an old cabin. And the score is 78. Casey, could you talk to this one, please?
Yeah, I was right at 78. Certainly an interesting building, and I think that waiting for a little bit more drama in the lighting in the sky might be more flattering to it. Might bring out a stronger image, a little bit more punchier, more impact. The foreground with that fence post coming into the bottom of the shot like that is a heavy distraction. I either change your height so you can crop that out in the camera and it's not there, or even just crop the image. I would probably just crop the image. Now with the shot that you have, I'd still crop the image, but on that day, I would try to get higher and photograph it so that doesn't show right in the viewer's face like that. But so not quite merit for me, but not far off though.
Can I add something?
Yes, please do, John.
I'm picking up a halo along the edge of the roof too, especially towards the left side.
Yeah.
Where either something's been cut in, or maybe you just push the
Right.
something's been the processing and just a little bit too much. So for me, that's a kind of a technical problem that keeps it from becoming a merit. So go back in there and clean that up. And besides that, I agree with everything that Casey said.
Thank you, John. Next image in the workshop category, armed and ready. Armed and ready. Score is 78. Jim, this one's with you.
Scored it a 78. I think it's a great composition, great thought about how they posed him or put him in there. Lighting is off and soft. Some light added to it could help direct it. It's also, for me, the wrong color. The warmth of it, it looks like it's been warmed up. But one of the other things that are up right dead center up at the top, there is what appears to be sensor dust in it. Background could be not so gray, but then maybe that's the effect the maker was going for. Crop it in a little tighter perhaps too. But the direction of the light, I think, could add to it.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, next image in the workshop category, running on water, running on water. Final score is 79. And this one is with you, John.
I scored this 78. It's a great moment. It's a great, just a really interesting and terrific title, by the way. What keeps me from going higher than that? And I'm going to take it for granted that it is sharp. It's a little far away, but is that the even though I like the way his arms are, but his feet are just sort of, everything sort of, the shapes are sort of overlapping and sort of confusing. If this was, if this was from the side just a little bit more, so that he presented a better silhouette of a character in action, this would definitely be a merit for me. I was thinking about, maybe cropping in on a little bit, but it probably wouldn't be able to handle that. But mainly it's about the figure itself, just not presenting a very good silhouette. So what did I say, 78?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, John. Okay, and then the final image of the workshop category, and indeed the final image of the competition, is water polo huddle. Water polo huddle. Score is 83. And Casey, you're going to do this one.
Yeah, I do. I do get to do this one. This is fantastic. I love this. It has a lot of impact and creativity is off the charts. Sort of an abstract storytelling digital imagery thing that's happening is really nice. Man, I'm not sure. Other than the lighter, really sort of white splotches that come in from the top of the frame to pull attention away from the hunched over water polo figures, that's my negative on this. Other than that, I think this image is fantastic. I love it. I might consider vignetting slightly the lower right corners to really bring more attention to those water polo caps and the numbers. Just kind of focus it in a little bit. But those are the two criticisms that are kind of nitpicky that I would probably try to improve. Other than that, I might even be a little low on my score in this. I absolutely love the treatment that's been done to this to present like it does. Fantastic. Well done. Well done to the maker.
Thank you, Casey. Well, that brings the main part of our image competition to a close. And I want to thank our judges
Nick?
for, yes.
Nick?
Oh, no, it
Three to
doesn't. Stan's
three to
correcting me.
review. Yeah.
Thank you. I always forget the reviews. Okay, so we have 3 images for review in the workshop category. First one is A New Day at an Old Cabin. New Day at an Old Cabin. Okay, judges, if you would type into the chat, please.
Did we just?
You did, thank you, and it stays the same.
Okay.
Okay, the next image review is Armed and Ready. Armed and Ready. Remains the same. And then the final image review is Running on Water. Running on Water. Remains the same. So as I was saying, that now brings us to the end of our image competition. I want to thank our judges for their gracious time, their incredibly valuable thoughts and insights. We do hold them for a little longer, but we're going to go offline now, and then the judges will get to deliberate for the best in show. And if you would like to join us on Wednesday evening at the Old Spaghetti Factory in Riverside, then you'll find out who won the categories and who won the overall show. And that, of course, will then wrap up our competition year and lead us then to the holiday party on December 11th, when you get to find out who were the winners for the year. So we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday evening and then again on December the 11th. Once again, thank you. This is Inland Empire Professional Photographers and Videographers November Image Competition. And we're going to sign off right now. Thank you. Good night.